The Pinball Network is online. Launching.
Triple Drain Pinball Podcast.
All right, Tom, are you ready?
Si, Senor Joel.
See, okay. And Travis, are you ready?
Are we allowed to talk? Can we talk now?
Yes, I needed
King
a second
Joel?
of silence.
We were in the middle of talking, and you were like,
Yeah,
"No, I need
I
you
had
to
to
stop."
hold my breath.
Okay. Here we go.
Podcast, don't talk.
Yeah. All right, and go.
We're three guys who like to talk pinball, so we came up with a clever name. We're Joel and Travis Tom who talk pinball, and we call ourselves Triple Drain, Triple Drain, Triple Drain. We're Triple Drain.
Triple Drain.
Travis has a question.
No, I legit have a question because
I'm
we
ready.
didn't discuss this before. Did you play like an intro during that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like we do have an intro, right?
I mean, the intro is the normal podcast intro. It'll be the TPN, like
Is it like animated with like all kinds of like explosions and shit like that?
You know, I'm
or-
gonna figure it out. I'm gonna.
Okay.
We'll see. So the reason Travis is asking this silly question is because we're doing video. We are doing video. We actually have a camera on all of us. Yeah, Tom is touching it. Travis
Oh,
is
you're not
saluting.
supposed to do that?
Travis moved out of his closet for this. He did not. He put up one picture in the background. I see, not hung on the wall, just sitting on a table.
I think that's a light.
And he has a light rod. But besides that, that's
it's a
all.
floor lamp. Who
that's
calls
his-
it a light rod?
But it's like a whole. It's like a whole tube that's lit up. It's not.
It's a tube light. Yes, that's what all the cool people do now for their backgrounds. Joel, what do you
I
have?
don't
You
even
have
want
like a
to
bunch
know
of
what
pinball
you do with
machines.
that when we're not filming.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, this is a cool background. Tom, you have a cool background. Travis, you've got a wall.
I've got two walls. What are you talking about?
Oh yeah, in a corner. Yeah. So okay. So anybody that's listening to this in the normal format, yes, this is the Triple Drain Pinball Podcast. We are, the three of us, Joel, Travis, and Tom. Nothing out of normal. But
We
we're trying
talk
something new.
pinball, and we call ourselves Triple Drain.
There you go. We talk is really what it
I
comes.
thought you were quoting the
just
song,
like we
Joel. I was
play.
going with it.
Oh, got it. So we are still doing the podcast. We're still going to do the audio form of the podcast. You're probably listening to this on the Pinball Network. But something we are doing different is we decided we've always had our cameras on, but we're actually going to release video of this podcast. And so the thought is we have started the Patreon. There's Patreon, the Triple Drain, _Drain Patreon. We have some Patreon members. We're incredibly grateful for their support. That support has paid for some swag. we've basically bought our own merch for ourselves because that's apparently what cool people do when they have a Patreon. And then it's going to pay for this artwork that you see down there, the Jackson Gee artwork that we used for that swag. But the thought here is this first video is out there for everybody. Everybody can have it, enjoy it, watch it as many times as they want. It'll be on the Pinball Network YouTube channel. So go to YouTube, type Pinball Network, you'll find this video. But our thought is after this video, we're going to make the video aspect of this a Patreon exclusive. So if you're a Patreon member, it doesn't matter what tier you are. When we release the normal podcast episode, we will also release the link for the Patreon members. So if you're one of those people that would prefer to take this in, they want the visual side of this podcast. They want to see Tom's beautiful face. They want to see Travis's corner of his tan blank walls. You can do that. You can do that for a small fee of either $3, $6, or $9 a month. That's all you got to do.
Or you can join my OnlyFans and see the other wall as well.
Yeah, you don't want to see that. You don't want to see that wall. You definitely don't want a black light on in that wall either. So I don't know. If you want to see a face to this, then awesome. Feel free to join the Patreon and enjoy the video. Otherwise, enjoy the podcast. That's what we're here for. The audio part of this is always going to be available to anybody. So there's your disclaimer, and we're going to see how this shakes loose. So. Yeah, catching up with you guys. It's been a little while. We've gotten through Christmas. We've gotten through the new year. I know we tried to get a podcast in before the end of the year, trying to wrap everything up. And one thing that I did after our podcast is I actually had a really cool opportunity to interview George Gomez He's the chief. What
There
is
he
it?
goes talking about himself again, Travis.
Yeah, like let's just talk about Joel's podcast.
trying to
and our
talk about-
podcast. Why not? Might as
Chief,
well.
what is it? Chief technical officer? It's not. Chief.
You interviewed him. You tell
All right,
us.
cool. He's the man. Okay, George Gomez. He's the man. And it was an awesome interview. He said a lot of stuff, but what I wanted to discuss with you guys is through that interview, one of the things that he shared was 2 cornerstones next year. One of them, the design team, is Dwight Sullivan and Brian Eddy. And then the other design team is Jack Danger and Tanyo Kleiss. And as far as I know, that is not normal for anything like that to be shared ahead of time, because as we know, there are people that are very loyal to either designers of the physical machine or design, like coders. They really
Did you send him booze or something before
No,
the podcast?
apparently I just asked the right questions. I don't know, but it was he revealed all that. And then the other thing that he also revealed is Zombie Yeti is doing the art package for both of them. So we know the game designer, we know the software programmer, and we know the artist for both of these games. The only thing he left out is the theme. So we have no idea what those themes are going to be. But with the 2 of you guys and as many games as you have owned and as much as you guys have, as much experience as you have in pinball, does that mean anything to you? Like, are you excited about one or the other? Or like, I don't know, is there hesitation of like, well, if Dwight and Brian go first, I'm going to skip that and I'll wait for Jack. I don't know. Does that forecast
when's
tell
Elwin's
anything?
next game?
When's Elwin's next game?
It's right now.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that tonight.
Drop this week.
Yeah, but I don't know. Thoughts on that?
I mean, it's cool to know what's coming up.
Mhm.
Obviously, we don't know theme or anything, but yeah, it's kind of cool to know who's going to be designing and working on the games. I think that's really neat.
You still have Mando, right?
It's right here, Joel.
Well, I can't. It's just a little out of frame. Okay, but so Mando. I mean, that's a Brian and Dwight game. I mean,
Yep.
do you like that combo? Is that combo enjoyable enough that you sign you up for another one? I mean,
Yeah, potentially.
okay.
I mean, it just depends. Depends on the theme and see what happens.
All right. Travis, what
Not
are your...
making any promises.
Okay.
So what you're saying is the team will not cause you to commit to buying something.
No,
That's what
not
you're saying.
necessarily. No.
See, that's fair. I'm just going to use all of Joel's catchphrases.
Thank you.
This podcast.
Oh,
You're welcome.
wait, are we supposed to drink if somebody says
I
that?
forgot
I think
about
so.
that. I
I think
forgot
that's how that
about
works.
yeah. So, okay. All right. Well, I mean, I know plenty of people that are they're just Team Elwin. So every Elwin game has been him and Rick Nagel.
How
it's
could
been
you
this-
not be Team Elwin?
I think that's a valid statement, but people are like, okay, I don't care what the game is. If that combo is happening, I'm in. And I feel like there was a time where there were like Steve Ritchie fans. They're like, I'm in for every Steve Ritchie games. They just love his games. So do you feel, I mean, like Jack is a big question mark. We have no idea what a Jack Danger game looks like. And
What do you
Tanyo,
mean he built a home pin?
yeah, but it's still, I mean, it's like give him free range, 2 node boards, do whatever you want, 3 models. Like we have no idea what Jack Danger is going to make. And Tanyo,
Within the Stern bomb, of course.
true. And Tanyo Kleiss only has one game, which
That's
is
fair.
Deadpool. That
Pretty
he's
good
coded.
game, though.
It's a
you know,
fantastic
It's a
game.
great game.
But that's I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if people heard that information and they're like, well, looks like I'm safe for 2023. Like I'm not buying a game. Or there's people that are immediately like, oh, I'm in. I'm already in because of this team.
Honestly, oddly enough, I really didn't hear from anybody positive or negative either way with knowing. You know, it's kind of like one of those things. I think it's just a lot of people assumed what the teams could possibly be just based off the past, based off who's released games recently. Everybody knew that Borg has already come out with a game with Rush. Everybody knew that Elwin was on Bond's 60th. So I guess it was just generally assumed that it was possible he was not going to be in the 2023 lineup. So, I mean, people were kind of putting the dots together here and connecting it. So, I mean, it's just, I don't know. I think it would be a bigger deal. I mean, it is kind of a big deal that they are announcing that ahead of time. I think it would be even a bigger deal if they did that with themes. And we've talked about that before, about announcing ahead of time what they have, almost like a a Stern day and, hey, here's our release schedule and here's what's coming. Because it's not like anybody else could do anything about that or react to that anyways. So I would always be curious about that because I don't know. I don't think it would necessarily stop people from buying the game that they want to buy because there's a lot of people that will buy a pro, right? And they're wanting to just buy it because they're just going to wait on the premium. Or there's plenty of people that will buy a game and just they know that they're going to sell it. They're just buying it thinking, okay, I'm going to hold on to it for 3 to 6 months, move on and go to the next one. There's thousands of people out there that do exactly that.
Well, I think it's an interesting point because you're saying we know literally everything but the theme, but you're not seeing people commit. You're not seeing people like, oh, I'm in like Tanyo, like I love Tanyo, I'm in. But
I mean, what is there to commit to though? I mean, outside of like doing a pre-order and nobody knows what their allocations are of those games.
Well,
so I mean, how do you commit? You know what I mean?
If both of you knew that the March Cornerstone release was going to be Elwin, I'm assuming both of you would already be setting aside money in your bank account.
Well, yeah,
like
but come on,
preparing
Joel,
for that.
Yeah? You said Elwin though. That's like, he creates all-time bangers. That's not fair. Like you can't, like, you know what I mean? You can't compare like the person at the top of the mountain and then say, okay, since you'll get his, like surely you have to make those decisions with everybody else. Because the thing is, Elwin is proven. Like Team Elwin is proven. We don't know what Team Eddie and Dwight will bring. We don't know what team.
We know Eddie and Dwight.
Okay, one game. Like Mando, like that's not.
It's just one game.
That's not like 4 or 5. That's my point.
Okay,
you know what I mean. So if we judge it off Mando, then what do we do? You know what I mean? Because Brian Eddy, he's had different types of designs in the past. Dwight hasn't had the same type of rule set. Mm-hmm. So I mean, I don't know. We might get something totally different. It's hard to tell.
Yeah, it's just we've had a lot of discussion about this of like why doesn't Stern give us info ahead of time? Like, why don't they announce stuff ahead of time? And I think the fear has always been that they don't want a future title to be hurting their current title that's for sale. And I just thought this was kind of an interesting situation where we in my opinion, we've heard a lot of solid information about what's coming out with these new games, but yet I'm not seeing that reaction. I'm not seeing people like.
I don't think it's solid enough. That's the problem.
But
I mean, you know who's doing it, but you don't have a picture of what's going on. You don't have a theme. You don't have a price. You know, there's a lot of things.
Well, you bring up a good point, though, Tom. That literally means that there's plenty of people that will make buying decisions strictly off a rumor also.
True.
I mean, that's where the industry's at. If people don't tell you ahead of time and they don't know, everybody has to make their decision based off a rumor. And all 3 of us know we've talked about that. I mean, Tom, I know you've probably done that. I know for a fact I've done that before in terms of deciding not to get a game at a certain time because this other game might come out, or in terms of like purposely trying to buy a game, hurrying up because I think another game's not going to come out for a while. I mean, we've all played that game to some degree. So I don't know how much it would affect. Like, for instance, if I knew that, say, Elwin wasn't going to be until September, right? Just throwing that out there. That's obviously not confirmed, not going to happen this year. But if I did know that, then in my head, I have 2 choices. Either I'm saving money for that, or I know I want to just jump on a pro instead of a premium for this next release, because then I know I want to turn around and sell it before the next game. I mean, that helps with that type of decision making. There's plenty of people out there that want to buy the next game, regardless who it is.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think it amazes me, and I know we've already talked about this, but Scooby-Doo, as soon as it was announced, like Spooky already had essentially kind of some drama and some baggage that they've been carrying through for the last year plus with issues with layout of Halloween or lack of code or I mean, there are people that feel burned by Spooky Pinball. And so I think we all were just like, what's Spooky going to do on this next release? Are they going to sell out? Are they going to do this? Are they going to do that? Then all they did was tease Scooby-Doo. That's all they did was tease. And you see on Pinside, and it's just like, where do I buy? Where do I buy? I'm in. Dream Theme, in. Boom, boom, boom. It's like all these people are ready to commit. They haven't seen anything. They don't know anything about the game. Nothing. And people are ready to put down a down payment. But yet here is the exact opposite. We know everything about the game except for the theme. Everything. And yet I'm not seeing that. Like I'm not.
What does that tell you?
The power of theme.
There you go.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. But I will say, I mean, I think Brian Eddy, I mean, he's made some amazing games. I think he takes some chances with his designs, and kind of some of the uniqueness of his mechs and whatnot. You obviously look at Mando on the premium, like that moving playfield. Sure, Pirates had the moving ship. It's not the first, but it's just like that is a unique mech. Stranger Things was an incredibly unique design. Shadow, like, give me more of that. That's what I loved. Everything about Shadow. So to me, it's like I'm always intrigued to see what Brian Eddy's going to do mechanically. And then Dwight knows how to put on a moment, put on a Dwight show. There's going to be fun experiences, I will say, in that game. I don't doubt that. So I'm excited for that. And then with Jack, like, I'm very much excited to see what Jack's going to do. I have no idea what he's going to do. And I don't know. I don't know if that means I've set the bar low because I have no expectations, or if I don't know. I don't know what that means, but I'm very excited to see what's coming from Jack. And then Tanyo, the one thing I have experience of Tanyo, I freaking love. I love Deadpool. So I'm excited for this year. Even though there's no Elwin, I'm still excited for this year and what's to come. So
what do you mean there is an Elwin?
Well, yes, we're gonna be. There is an Elwin. So if you want, we can. I mean, there's other companies. Obviously, there's a lot of other podcasts have already done their 2023 predictions.
Hold the phone. We got to talk about something else. We got to talk about our TWIPY nomination.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yes.
So let's dive right into that. So first off, everybody that's listening to this podcast or watching, if you're watching the video, if you nominated us for the TWIPY, like, thank you. Thank you so much for that. TWIPY's, it's a very cool award ceremony. It's very much a People's Choice Award. And I think we had mentioned it, but we're obviously not campaigning for it.
We were snubbed last year, Joel.
we had like,
I changed my mind. We are the #1 ranked podcast right now as the nominees, right?
Oh, because it's at the top of the list.
Yeah, that means #1, right?
That's how that works.
This is ours to lose now, Joel. That's exactly the way it works. What are you talking about?
No. Last year I think we had all of maybe 6 episodes out, so we were very much new. But it is very clear. I mean, just through the emails we've gotten and the Facebook messages and then the Patreon supporters, like it blows my mind that there are people out there that enjoy this and want to support us. So I know we weren't campaigning for TWIPYs. I want to make sure, like, if we get votes, I want to make sure we earn those votes. We get votes from listeners that enjoy this content. I'm not going to ask my mom to vote for me, I
did. I told my mom, vote for me, I'm kicking her out. What are you talking about right now?
Oh, your roommate?
My roommate.
Yeah.
All right, I walked right into that one.
Yeah.
Shit.
So just to clarify, she lives with you, not you live with your mom, right? I mean,
no, my mom provided me with this tube light that you were talking about, this one wall. She got me this mic and this camera. Yeah. So yeah, that's why I get to do this.
Your one picture. What's the picture of? I'm sorry for the audio people, but is it a ship?
What is it? A ship? What are you talking about? Is it a ship?
It's a stormtrooper. All right.
Stormtrooper. He's on a ship though.
Okay.
So.
I just saw the
gray.
Very. It's like it's got gray and white tones. Why are we talking about this right now? We're supposed to be talking about TWIPYs.
Because believe it or not, that is the most entertaining thing that you have in your frame of your pictures.
Hell no. Okay. Hey, look at this. We're going to go off on a tangent here. So I have this new device, right? That we should be sponsored by. You guys are going to crack up. So this is called a WoW stick.
I don't even want to know. What is that?
Okay, I accept that it looks like something else.
What is that?
It's a screwdriver.
WoW stick?
It's called a WoW stick, right? But here's what's hilarious. It literally says 69 in 1.
Wow.
I know this looks like one of those Hitachi ones, but it's not. I swear to God. Look, it's awesome.
What are you searching for that to be a recommended product?
Okay.
Does that vibrate?
No, it does. It does actually. Okay. You guys are gonna lose it when I tell you who I found this product out from. I was watching Marco Specialties and Emoto was on there. And she was talking about this WoW stick because somebody was using it on the pinball machines. I was like, holy crap, I got to get that. And I didn't put it together, though, what it looked like or that it had the number 69 on it, Joel, until I got it. And I was like, wow, I bought this. Like, I even told Monica, I was like, hey, and that's my wife, for those, scoring at home. I was like, hey, we got this new product coming in. And I told her it's called a WoW stick. And so when she saw it, like I had to tell her, I'm like, because she was like, why the hell did you buy me a sex toy?
That's not for you. That's for me.
I did say that because I wasn't thinking that. And then I realized she was being serious.
So let me get this straight. So I don't know, like a year ago.
So what does that do exactly?
It's a screwdriver.
It's a screwdriver. Like it automatically screws in stuff.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah.
Like old screws. Yeah.
So it's good. It's worth
it's worth it. So if the makers of the WoW stick are listening, hey, good on you. You guys have done
WoW
great.
Stick and a comfy. And you're a happy boy.
Hey, you know what? I told Tom earlier, I'm literally stealing all your stuff, so I'm shilling. That's the way it works.
All right.
Nice, Tom. Very
great,
good.
Yeah.
Notice I'm wearing it.
Yeah. He's not, for people listening to the podcast.
No.
My wife,
I think I just sniffed right into the mic too. My apologies. I thought I was on mute.
The comfy's basically become my wife's at this point. But just to reiterate first, you told us roughly a year ago that there was a point where you had bought lube for your pinball machines. It was super lube. It was super lube for your pinball machines. But you told Monica, hey, she's like, oh, we got a package. And you're like, oh, I bought some lube. And she got excited. And then you had to clarify it was for a pinball machine. Yeah. So fast forward to recently, she pulls that out and you say, no, that's for a pinball machine. So 2 for 2 on just straight disappointing your wife.
We're going to go for a 5th kid and I just disappoint her as usual. So it's fine.
Yeah,
it's good.
Right.
By the way, Joel, why am I on the bottom of this?
So the layout, because Travis in his closet before, he mounted his camera way to the left and we basically were looking at his shoulder blade. So I just assumed Travis was going to be looking left.
And then he changed everything.
I didn't know the production value needed to go up to me having 2 walls and a tube light. I didn't know that was coming.
Okay, so for the TWIPY, for the people that nominated this,
TWIPYs.
For the people that nominated this type of content, thank you. Thank you.
What are you doing with your life is what I want to know.
Yeah, but in all seriousness, no, it is fantastic. TWIPY voting is live right now. So if you nominated us, obviously feel free to vote. If you didn't nominate us, that's totally fine. Still, go for it. Vote. Vote for whatever you want. Obviously, there's voting for a bunch of game categories. So feel free to pump whatever game you really are passionate about. And then basically all the social media stuff between podcasts and streams and all that fun stuff. So Tom, Fox Cities Pinball made streaming.
Yes. Yeah. And we appreciate every vote.
Yes. See, the problem
is, said, Tom. Well said.
If you do video, you still have to mouth it.
I know. I should have did that.
Oh, no, yes, it happened. It happened. Oh, so for people listening on the podcast, what just happened? And the answer is El Gato. No signal.
Now
it is you. Everybody can see it. This is the life of podcasting with Travis Murie. And you wait, and there he's manual focus. There he is.
The funniest
I don't see any problems with this.
The funniest thing, and again, everybody, thank you for nominating us.
Yeah.
But the funniest thing is, I forgot what I was going to say.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
People nominated for this content. Okay, this high quality production. Videos go out. We forget our jokes.
Hey,
we
do you
ramble
think
on
the
and
TWIPYs
on.
are going to drop us from the ballot now after we release this episode?
Hey, we made top 10.
Probably.
We made top 10.
Hey, we're number 1 seed, Joel. Don't forget that.
Okay. Yes.
Number
all right.
1 seed.
So, yes, for everybody, thank you so much. Flipping Out Pinball, which is what I stream on, was nominated for streaming. So thank you for anybody that nominated us for that. Tom, Fox Cities Pinball was nominated. Thank you for all the people that nominated him for that. Travis is here. So thank you, Travis, for being here.
With my WoW stick.
Yeah. All right.
And your lighted rod.
God. Yeah. Well, so
Joel, we got to speed this up. I need to hit my OnlyFans by 10 o'clock tonight.
So our notes were really short. It was basically TWIPY and talking about what's coming out with Stern. But really, the meat and potatoes of tonight is all about Bond 60th edition. So Bond, the Elwin version. The Elwin version has officially been announced. We've all known it's coming. They've been talking about it since October, but nobody's seen it. Nobody had any idea what it was. It was finally revealed. And man, there's a whole lot we can talk about here. So what do you want to talk about first? Do you want to talk about what the game actually is, what it looks like, all that? Or do you want to talk about marketing? Because I know Travis is jonesing. He is ready to talk about everything, marketing and price and everything that's happened with this reveal. So
whatever you want to talk about, Joel. You're the leader of us three idiots, so you go for
it. All right. Well, we'll start with the design. So overall design, initial thoughts. We'll start with outside of the game. What do you think of the looks of the game? Not looking at the layout, just the looks of the game. Initial impressions. Tom, let's go for it.
Where's the powder coat?
There is powder coating. It's black powder coating, but it's not sparkly. I think there was somebody online that they're like, I'm out because it's not sparkly. So it's sleek. I'll give them that.
I really don't care for the movie posters all over the place.
Yeah.
I thought the back glass looks pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of blue.
I like the blue.
Yeah. It looks good. I mean, it's a pinball machine.
It's a pinball. I did
it's a good review.
It doesn't look yellow and white like Dr. No.
Like the Dr. No. Yeah. I did a chatting stream last night on the Flipping Out stream. Flipping Out with Friends. Flipping Out with Friends. It's our new thing. By the way, it's on YouTube. It's on YouTube. No longer am I streaming on Twitch. Only on YouTube. But I did a chatting stream like that, and George with Don't Panic Flip actually brought up a good point, which he said the design of the posters reminded him a lot of the GNR limited edition version of the game, which had all the different band posters. But if you remember, it was like a brick wall or something, and then the band posters, they were dynamic. Like it looked like they were hanging, and they weren't just on a grid. Like it looked. I mean, it was busy, like a collage, but it actually looked like there was effort put forth in the overall artistic layout of the cabinet art. While this is very much just like, it's just a collage. It's just a grid. And I mean, we've already talked about this a good bit. It is very clear this licensor is extremely picky and hard to work with. Yeah. So I don't want to blame anybody at Stern for some of these artistic directions, because we've seen it in the other three models of the Bonds machines, and then we've also seen it on the back glass. We've seen it in the LCD screen. When it comes to the visual assets that this licensor is giving them, it seems like they are extremely picky. So maybe this was literally their only options.
How about the side art on the head?
You mean just the titles, the listed out titles of every? Yeah.
I mean, it kind of looks like our pre-production notes, really, once you think about it.
It kind of does, actually.
Yeah.
Bring up a good point.
I don't know. I mean, I'm not. I would say. I mean, there are art packages that have been on game. Like Halloween is a beautiful looking game. Like Ultraman, beautiful looking game. If you're talking about the art package, Zombie Eddie, almost everything he makes. There are people that clearly buy the games and are just totally fine with it sitting in a corner because of how good they look. Unfortunately, I don't think Bond 60th edition falls into this category.
You get a custom shooter rod, Joel.
Okay. Yeah.
Union Jack.
Yeah.
Union Jack.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's the outside.
Well, I'm just bringing up a point.
No, you're right. You're right. So artwork, I would say the artwork on the playfield, I actually like. I know it's Photoshop. It has all the Bonds. There's no Bond girls on the playfield, which is kind of surprising, but all the James Bonds are on there.
Berry.
Nothing. There's
disappointed there.
I mean, isn't there a female scuba diver at the bottom?
I mean,
but you
well,
can't
if you
tell.
want to get technical,
you're really.
I mean, just looking at the body, I don't want to like assume gender, but I'm seeing what looks like a female. So I mean, there's one.
If you're in doubt, I don't think it's quite doing what you want it to do to represent a Bond girl. Like that's
fair.
Yeah. So I would say, but I like the blue. I actually like the artistic side. I like the graphics on the playfield. I like it. I like the way that looks. I think that looks a whole lot better than the cabinet art. But yeah, what are your thoughts on the layout? Like, is there? I know we kind of geeked out about it yesterday on the chatting stream, but I mean, you guys are tournament players. You guys have played a lot of street level games. Do you feel not street? I take that back. Dennis Creasel educated on me. This is not a street level game. This is a single level game.
What's the difference?
Basically, street level, there was like a few Gottlieb games that they were made with off-the-shelf parts. They were made to be cheap. They were made to be cost efficient.
If it was Gottlieb, good thing it's not a street level game then.
yes. So it's just single level.
The way some people are reacting to this, they may view it as a street level game. So I mean,
so it is a single level game. So for the two of you, this to me. Were you seeing what elements stick out to you, or do you see elements in this game that represent other games? What do you think, Travis?
I love inline drops, so I like that. I think the left orbits,
the figure eight thing,
the figure eight thing's really cool. Plus it's got the two spinners involved with it, which is really, really, really cool.
Yeah,
I like that. 4 spinner game. That's technically
Opto
5,
spinners.
I guess. If 5 if you count the spinning disc, but
the hat, yeah. So if you watch the video, the showing off the game, there was a shot that actually showed whoever was playing. I don't know if it was Elwin, whoever it was, but there was a shot where all 4 spinners and the hat were spinning. So there's a combo that you can do to loop that around the outer orbit. It hits the middle spinner and then hit the figure 8 combo and then also hit the hat, and all the spinning things are spinning all at once, which sounds incredible. The first thing I thought of though, when I saw that, is how are the score reels going to keep up? Because if a spinner gives you a minimum 1 point, that means that score reel has to spin as fast as the spinners are spinning. And so we're talking, there are mechanical score reels in the back box. That's side note. There was a render that leaked. And I remember when we looked at that leaked render months ago, we all saw the LCD and we're like, that looks strange. We just didn't, it looked like it was just a graphic. Well, that's it. That was the real thing. And I would say, at least in the videos even, it still kind of just looks like a graphic. It's not blatantly obvious that there are mechanical reels in that back box. But I'm very curious. I mean, maybe when you see it in person, it's very obvious. But some of the videos I've seen, I think it's cool that there's mechanical reels in the back box, but it's not wowing me like I was hoping it would. But anyway, so layout wise, I don't know. Travis, what are you seeing layout wise that's getting you excited?
No, I think it's all pretty cool. I really like the figure 8. Just being able to do all 4 spinners at the same time, that's never been done. Before. I don't recall any game that's ever had this many spinners on it, especially for a single level game. So that type of shot, that looks pretty sweet. And I think what I like about the figure 8 especially is that you could go around either side. You can go either way with it, is from what it looks like. And then the inline drops, I love inline drops. I wish more business or more companies, more pinball machines would be released with inline drops. I actually really like the idea of the captive ball in the back too. That's a good callback to certain other games like Mystic and games like that, in which you need to hit a captive ball and it actually means something in the game. So seeing that's pretty cool. And then of course drop targets. Everybody loves drop targets in general. But I mean, what I'm most curious about, and I think I might have talked to you guys about this before too, is I'm really, really interested to see how this type of layout, because it's like a classic Bally type layout, right? And you have the Stern flippers on there, and they're snappy. Obviously, they're very powerful. And even in the trailer, it showed a few air balls coming off the inline drop. So I'm very curious to see how that works, how that goes with the game flow. I'm sure having snappy flippers with those spinners, with opto spinners at that, it's going to be a lot of fun as well. So I don't know. I mean, I'm not crazy about the disc, to be honest with you. In Avengers, it makes sense to me because it's definitely with, on point with Doctor Strange in here. Like, I get why the disc is there. I guess with, what's the name? Odd Job is the name of
it.
Yep. So I get that. I don't know. For me, it's just kind of in a weird spot where it's at, just right in the middle of the play field. So I'm curious about how that'll be, but I've never really been a fan of that type of mech to begin with. So I don't know. I mean, obviously they got to have something in the middle of the play field of some type. So I don't know. Maybe it'll make sense when it's there. Once I see it, maybe it'll make sense, because I guess it says something about what you advance your gadget, I guess, with it, because there's an insert right there. So I'm curious to see how that applies to the rules.
I think the way it works is you have to hit down the bond targets, which are the 4 drops on the left. And in one of the videos, it almost looks like those are sweepable. Like in one of the videos, it showed at least hitting 3.
Yeah, the NOB, then it ricocheted off a stand up, then back down.
Yeah.
The D. Yep.
So if I think it's you complete bond and then probably rip the disc, and then that counts towards a gadget. But it looks like there's you do that so many times, and there's a multi-ball there. There's a multi-ball of collecting bonds. So there's kind of actually a little saucer in the back where the figure 8 happens. So I don't know what you have to do to light that, or maybe you just hit it, and once you hit that enough, but it's like collecting all the bonds. There's a multi-ball there. The drop targets, there's something unique going on there because it talks about locking a ball. So it almost looks like you could drop them down and then shoot the ball back there, and maybe it holds it, because if you lock 2, there's some multi-ball involved in that. And the action button, if you read the instructions, the action button says something about you can hit the action button and it drops the drop targets and would start multi-ball or something. So it's like you can almost store a ball back there, and then when you need it, you hit the action button and it drops it and gives you the ball. Like, I don't know, like just unique stuff like that I think this game really, initially I wasn't super excited about it. And that's just because I thought it was kind of an unobtainium kind of thing. I was like, why would I get excited about a game I don't think I'll ever play? Like, I'm never going to see it on location. I just didn't want to get excited about something I didn't think I'd ever be able to play. But yet now, the more that I'm looking at it, I'm like, this game looks super fun to shoot.
Yeah, I mean, plus too, judging by, what the inserts are saying and everything, I feel like that this is a game that's a step above what Beatles is. And I'm saying this as a former Beatles owner. And I'm just judging that because obviously they have the villains on there. It says like spinners, pops, loops, discs. So you have to assume that they're attached to some type of task in the game that you got to perform. But then on top of that, I love the idea of having the 4 spinners, and I love the idea of the inlines, and I love the idea that there's multi-ball in here, and there's more than just one multi-ball in here. Yeah, exactly. So to me, it's going to give you a lot more, I guess, what's the word for it? A lot more play to be had. And plus too, it being a single level game, that means all times are going to be short. It's not going to be near as long as your normal modern games that have ramps or anything like that. So I'll be interested to see how that really applies with the multi-ball, if that means they're going to be very close to the start button, or if they're going to be a lot more difficult to obtain. It looks like with the bonds that you collect there, I assume that's kind of works kind of like the Super Jackpot does with Beatles, to where you have to do the mode or the task with it, and then maybe you hit that at the very end of it for like some type of Super Jackpot collect or something like that. And I know somewhere in there, I think it's at the very backside of the whole entire playfield, it says something like collect all bonds to start bond multi-ball. Yeah. So I don't know, maybe that's like some type of wizard mode or mini wizard mode that's built into there, because I mean, you have to do a lot to get to that point. So
that's the one thing, reading the rule card that I saw in there, you're realizing there's a lot more depth here than I expected. And to go back to your fear of the snappy flippers, like I have TNA, and TNA has snappy flippers, and it's a fast game. It feels like a modern game compared to when I step up to, like, at a time I had TNA at the same time I had 8-Ball Deluxe, and like 8-Ball Deluxe, the ball just seems so slow and with no power, So I think it'll feel new. I think it'll feel fast. I think it's going to be a brutal game. That's what Dennis Creasel was saying on the chatting stream last night, that he's like, you guys are talking about the flow shots. You guys are talking about the center shot to the right orbit. You're talking about the 8-ball, like the figure 8 shot. those are all the flow shots, but everything else on this play field is brutal. You know, you have that spinner in the middle, the disc. You have 3 drop targets dead center, the MI6. Like, you hit those are going to be in danger. You know, there's a lot that you need to shoot at that are on the sides. Like, this is going to be a like fast and dangerous game. So the more I talked about it, the more I looked at it, the more excited about the game I got. What are your thoughts on the LCD screen in the game, in the middle of the play field? Tom is making an unhappy face, and Travis looks clueless. I mean,
Tom, what do you think? It's hard to judge it because I don't feel like they've really said much about it.
I mean, the only thing I gathered from looking at the videos was it might show some rules or something, or objectives. But I mean, they could show scenes from different Bond films and things like that. I don't know how inventive they're going to get with that LCD, so it'll be interesting to see.
I hope there's direction. Like, I hope there's, if you start a mode, like,
it's a street level game. How much direction do you need?
Well,
it's Joel.
Yeah, I need all the direction. All the blinky light is not enough direction. I need. So I would love it. I mean, I like the location of it because it's in your eyesight. So it's, I mean, if it could tell me what to do or explain what's going on or display something to make that mode different. I mean, to me,
when are you going to have time to see that though? Like while you're trapped up, or because it's going to be, I mean, if it's playing fast, you know what I mean?
Really
like
fast, yeah.
It's a lot. It's going to be easier to look at that screen than it will to look up normally where an LCD is going to be. I mean,
how's that easier? All you got to do is just move your head up 2 more
not
inches.
Nearly as far. You don't have to look up nearly as far. That's what
you're going to have to squint to see it.
Why didn't they market it like that? You don't have to look up as far. You can just look at this. Yeah.
Save your neck. Save your neck. You can. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I like it personally. That's one thing. Like the P3.
I bet you do.
Well, so the P3.
This P3 Stan over here. See, I told you he was going to bring it up. We knew this, Tom. We knew it.
P3 has all that information down on that. Like, you don't have to look up at all. Now
you're comparing apples to oranges right now.
Oh, I'm sure Keith is very excited about this comparison right now.
Just follow me on this short little journey.
Okay.
I'm just saying the P3 does a good job of explaining, what to do. It's all down there. And even like Haggis did the screen with Celt, Alien did the screen. To me, having that information, that visual information lower down, I like it. Now there's a mod. It's like Pin HD or something where there's a guy that they're basically duplicating the screen in a standard Stern game and then putting a little screen down in the apron. And that's the same idea of if you're looking at the flippers, it's easier to look 3 inches lower than lift your head all the way up and look at the screen.
That's what she said.
What? Okay. Travis has his hand up. Go ahead.
Joel, I got a secret to tell you. Okay. Yeah. You ready for this? I know this is going to blow your mind right now.
I'm ready to be wowed.
Okay. The vast majority of pinball players do not look at the screens for information. They just don't. Think about the whole discussion. The whole discussion we had about Rush. It has all the information right there. It tells you what multi-ball's ready. It tells you what to hit. I don't even
look at the flippers.
Yeah. It tells you all that information. And people are still like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. It's like, I mean, that's just what happens for whatever reason. Just we don't look at the screens as often as we should.
Now, you know what I want?
I don't understand
a game
it,
that has Bowen Karens coming out of the speakers talking.
Right? Why hasn't he developed an app that is like a pen caddy in our ears?
Exactly. That's what I need.
And he'd be like, "Why the F are you hitting that shot?" I'm like, "I don't know, Bowen. I have no idea."
Travis, you've been on my stream before, and that's pretty much what you say the whole time. Like, what
well,
are you doing?
Shit rolls downhill, Joel. That's how it works. So you know.
You know what I really like and is that collect bonus shot that goes back into the
M shot,
the shooter lane. Oh yeah,
that's cool. I like that. It's so simple, but it's just so cool to do that. Kind of like
it does say M
Star Trek.
Right there.
It's the M shot, yeah.
So what does that mean? What's the M shot compared to the ABC shot?
No, M is a character from Bond. It's like I think it's the leader or the person in charge, M, and then Q.
Just one letter.
Q is the person that does all of his gadgets.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That makes sense.
It was a her in the Daniel Craig. I don't think it was always a her, but M. Maybe it was. I don't know. All the Bond, they're rolling their eyes so hard right now.
All right. Well, hey, there you go. There's another female presence right there in the form of a letter right there on the right side of the playfield.
Yeah.
There you go.
But Bond is spelled out. What is surprising is there's 3 rollovers at the top, and each one says 007. Why it doesn't say 007 for the 3 roller, I don't know. And then ABC, that's one I don't know. I don't know why they chose ABC instead of some other 3-letter acronym, but
because it's like a classic game.
There we go.
That's the way it used to be. Yeah.
ABC.
Plus, there's 007s everywhere on all the classic games. That's another reason why they have that, Joel.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I would say just the more I looked at this, the more excited I got about the layout, and the more I started to appreciate how much you can actually put into a single level game. Dennis Creaso was bringing that up. Like, ramps actually take up a lot of room. People just assume a ramp is hovering over the playfield, but no, you have to have a ramp entrance, and it takes a little while for that ramp to then elevate up and become a ramp. Yeah. So unless you're just doing like Captain Marvel ramps, or some of these quick 180 ramps, like the ramp on Led Zeppelin over on the right, like it takes room, and that's room that you're missing other things. While you take this game, like, there is so much stuff on this. People are saying, oh, it's a single level, like this should be cheap. This should be cheap. There are so many mechs in this game. Sure, they're not custom besides the Odd Job hat, but the number of drop targets, the number of saucers that have a coil to pop it out, the inline drops have 2 coils, one to pop them back up and one to drop them down. Like, there's actually a lot in this game. You just don't see it like you normally do. So I don't know. One of the questions I had last night was, because George with Don't Panic Flip, he was all like, he's like, I'm in love with this game. I just can't justify it for $20,000. If this game would have been, I don't know, if there was a premium version of it and it was the $9,000 or $10,000.
If this was a $12,000 game, I would have bought it.
You would have bought it, Travis? Would you have pulled the trigger if it was, let's say, $10,000 or $12,000?
I mean, if Monica says yeah, then yeah. I mean,
you bought a Toy Story.
I mean, technically, it could be a $12,000 game if somebody wants to buy it. I mean, it could, like we talked about, you could buy it for $1 if you want to, or for free, or
let's actually talk about that.
I'd buy that for $1.
I'd do that for $1. Yeah. So there is a lot of misinformation out there, right?
Oh, here we go.
And I'm really just I'm going to let Travis really run with this. But so what I will say, this is in layman's terms, what it sounds like for every other Stern Pro Premium LE, every single one that's come out, there's typically like 3 numbers that are told to distributors. There's basically the absolute lowest that you can sell this game. Don't advertise it, but the absolute lowest you could ever sell this game without getting in trouble. Then there's something else, and then there's the advertised price. Go ahead, Travis. Explain.
Matt, is that what you're talking about?
Sure. There's 3 numbers, right? The UAP, right?
No. UAP, close. Isn't that like a UFO or something like that?
I don't know. I'm outside
aerial. So it's like any other industry. Every industry has, it goes like wholesale price, it goes UMRP, it goes MAP, it goes MSRP. I mean, they have all that. And then sometimes there's a price ceiling you can go to also. So it just depends like what industry you're in. But with this particular thing, there's a reason why it says call for price. That's dictated. It's not like we all got together and all decided, hey, we don't want to show a price.
You bastards.
That's direct from Stern, and that's just the reality of it. And that was planned all along. And I mean, I've read stuff that like different companies are colluding together. I've heard that from multiple people. I've heard that we're just all like just trying to get too greedy with the price. I mean, I've heard just all kinds of stuff. And I'm not like talking about any one person, because if you're listening to this and you're like, well, shit, I've said that. Well, guess what? About 20 of you, 30 of you said that anyway. Yeah. So I'm not talking about any one person, but it's just, I mean, it just goes into what this product is, and we've talked about it a lot in terms of what this product is and what this product isn't.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, how else do we want to elaborate on that? Do you guys have any thoughts on
that?
that?
Are the pop bumpers wired together?
No, they are individual. They are individual pop bumpers. But so that alone, like what it seems like. So distributors have been put in a tough spot because I don't know if Stern looks at this and like, well, I'm going to let them sell it for whatever they want. Like, I think Stern kind of looks at it like I'm throwing them a bone, and that happened before with the Beatles gold. What was it? Gold, platinum,
like gold, platinum,
diamond.
Yeah. Yep.
So diamond, they could sell diamond for whatever they want, and it was just like, yeah, feel free. And I think the thought there, Stern is like, feel free to capitalize on it. Like whatever the market value is, go for it. Now the truth is, distributors are already allowed to do that, even on a Stern Pro or even on a Stern Premium. There's plenty of distributors out there that sell the games for they all sell it for the same price. Some include free shipping, some don't, some do this, some don't, but they're all roughly the same price. And then there's other distributors that say no, and they hold on to the games and they wait. And so those are the people that, hey, yeah, it's sold out everywhere else. Well, you can buy it from me, but it's going to cost more. And that's fine. Like, that's how business works,
It's almost like the free market, isn't it? That's amazing concept, isn't it?
It just comes down to what do you want? I mean, that's why, in my mind, that's why even used games over COVID were going for higher than available price, because that's what it was. It's fine, you can buy it new at this price, but you're going to wait a year and a half. Or if you want it now, then you can buy it. It's going to be more.
Well, that's the thing I've always told people too, that, if they talk about games that are above MSRP, that are new in box, and they're like, okay, why is this happening? It's like, well, why are you selling your used game for more than MSRP that you have? And I'm not talking like any recent, like, why not sell your Addams Family that you have for the MSRP that you paid for new in box 20 years ago? You know what I mean? Yeah. Nobody thinks of it on that level. So, it's not meaning like, well, because you do this, we can do that. It's just, hey, this is the way that the industry is. This is the way supply and demand works. And it's not just in particular to what pinball is. It's like that across the board on all industries. And the fact is that if everybody sold MSRP across the board, you better believe the backlog would even be greater. Like the fact is that there is still a backlog, even with the market dictating what they want to buy. I mean, that's the reality of it. And there's a reason for that. And it's just because pinball is very popular. And we've talked about this before. The buyer base of pinball is much larger than what people realize. For whatever reason, people think that Pinside and Facebook is like the end of it.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you right now, it's not just comprised of people that type on a keyboard, that get on Facebook, or that want to get on a forum. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm just pointing out that that's not the full base. Like, the full base isn't the people that listen to this podcast or watch YouTube videos or watch Twitch streams. It's just not.
Yeah.
I mean, let's take, for instance, like Jack Danger, right? He works for Stern, longtime streamer, multiple time TWIPY winner, all this and that. He probably averages less than 200 viewers, like concurrent viewers watching, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. What I'm pointing out is this is somebody who is the face of Stern. Now, do we really think that there's only 150 to 250 people buying pinball machines from Stern at any given time? Like, it's just so much larger than what people realize, and people just don't think of it that way. I mean, it's the same way, like, think of any other hobbies that you guys might be involved in, whether it's video games, whether it's running or working out. It's like, okay, how often are you going on message boards about that and spending several hours a day or several hours out of your week thinking about it or doing that? Hobbies are just a lot larger than what people realize.
Yeah, and I totally understand with supply chain issues. I mean, almost everything. I mean, you look at the car industry. There are so many people. Like, I remember when the Bronco came out. There it is again. Elgato no signal. It's been another 30 minutes.
I need to get on the Elgato forum. My God.
Yeah. Okay.
You need to go on Pinside and figure this out.
Yeah, I need 10 people to tell me how to fix this, because I am in trouble.
Look how professional Joel and I are.
We look great. Every time. Consistent every time. Anyway, so like when the Bronco came out, there was such a demand for the Bronco that it became like a bidding war almost. There were dealers that were like, okay, I have one. What do you want? And it just boom, 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 boom. Like, people were paying way above MSRP for it because it was there and they knew they could have it. And I'm not like, are you mad at Ford for that? Like, sure, build more cars, like build them faster. I would love for Stern to build games faster, but I don't know. It is what it is. I'm glad I'm in the hobby because as the price of these new in-box games go up, the value of my games are also going up. Where it does suck, though, are for people wanting to get into pinball. That entry into pinball is getting harder and harder because they're getting more and more expensive. And that, I agree, that does suck. But
it sounds like that, though. But if that's the case,
I don't think that's the case.
Yeah, because why is Stern increasing their capacity? Why are they already at max capacity? You know, because people talk about this barrier, right? They do. And yes, the price is high, but very much we all understand we are in a first world hobby. Like we all get that, you know, and so we all have the freedom to choose what we want to do with our finances. And if a game is too much money, guess what? That's why there's games from the 70s, 80s, 90s, early 2000s that are still available. I mean, that's why I got a bunch of EMs. There's no way that I paid $2,000 or $3,000 for them. Okay. Some of them I paid $100 through $500, and it's just, I mean, the hobby is what it is, and it's only relative to when you get into it. I mean, I imagine, I still remember when I got into the hobby several years ago. Made it past those 5 years, thank God. But I still remember, even then, when I first started looking at it, people were all complaining about the prices. Yeah. They were doing it then. I remember seeing somebody say, "I cannot believe a Stern Pro is $4,800 used," or something like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that was then. That was the mindset then. You bring that to today, there would probably be 30 people lined up to try to get that instantly. So it's just all relative to what the time is. It's all relative to what people want. I mean, everything is super expensive.
Yeah.
Anything that's electronics is super expensive. Cars, PCs, video games. I mean,
electricity.
Everything. Yeah.
That's just how it is.
So to bring it back to the Bond 60th edition, I mean, distributors have already had this freedom essentially forever. Like they've always had the ability that they can sell games how they want. And I understand different distributors, they handle their business differently. Some focus more on like relationships. They want to make sure that their buyer base really feels, you know, like family, like, hey, I'm here for you. What do you need? And just this consistent friendship. But, you know, like, to be honest, Zach and Nicole are flipping out. Every new in-box game I've ever bought, I've bought from them, and I genuinely enjoy working with them. Like, I really appreciate working with them. But that's not exactly what everybody does. While there's other ones that it's just like, I need something, and people are going to call around and find wherever it's available. They don't care. They want it now. They're going to pay whatever it is now. I don't know who's doing that better or worse. But to bring it back to the 60th edition, it's a weird spot that Stern puts them in, saying you can sell the game whatever you want it for. There's no limit for how low you can sell this game. And that's kind of crazy. So the distributors are not allowed to advertise their price. They have to say call for price. And there is no handcuffed on how low they can sell the game. The problem is they're still buying the game. Like, they have to buy the game. Right. So the distributor wants to make money. Now, why does it matter that the low matters? Why does that matter? Because there are distributors out there that get allotments. They get allotments of games that they almost feel forced to take. And then those games sit on their shelves and they're stuck with them. Because even if they wanted to do a clearance, even if they wanted to potentially get rid of some of those games at a loss just to get them gone, they can't. They can't, because there's a minimum value set on those games. So they're screwed. They've paid a bunch of money to JJP or Stern or whoever. That's gone. The money's gone, and it's sitting on a shelf, and they can't sell it. Same with accessories. There's limitations, and if they know that if they sell under that price, they're in trouble. Like, if they get caught, they're in trouble.
Do you think there's any distributors holding on to WWEs?
I don't, at this point, I don't know. But it's, you look at, like, there's a lot of distributors that have Toy Stories in stock, or I don't know, Mandos in stock. And it's just, it's one of those. And I definitely think there are some smaller distributors that's, if most of their capital is stuck in games that are on their shelves, and they're like, I can't get rid of these. I cannot try to reclaim any of my money.
Just chuck them off the roof.
I mean, it's a touchy
do?
subject. It's a touchy subject overall. I mean, I can't speak for how other people run their business. That's up to them. All I can say is I know that the business that I'm associated with, we follow the rules to a T. And because that's the way to run it. Because I personally, I wouldn't want the ramifications for not doing it. And so, I mean, that's why I've talked to you guys before. It's just like, I worry about how the tax laws are all the time. I worry about making sure that we stay within the parameters of what our manufacturers want. And I mean, that's the way I've always ran things anyways with my previous businesses and with other industries that I've been with. And I think that that's me personally, for me, I think that that's the best way to go about things. Now, like I said, I can't speak for other people. I don't know how other people run their business. That's for them to decide, and that's for Stern to decide how they want to run their business as well. It's just like it is for any other company that's in here. So, I mean, yeah, it's definitely a touchy subject, and that's why you never hear anybody say like what these values are, and it's the same way, like I've told you guys, like we've talked about different things before, and even though we're on a podcast together, I've been upfront. I've been like, hey, I can't give you that information, or I can't say this, or I have to leave something out in it. And it's the same way, like we might have seen something come out and I'm like, okay, hey, here's what I wasn't able to tell you. Now we can talk about it. So, I mean, that's just the way it is. And, I mean, to me, that's the way to run things as much as you possibly can. And, that's just how it is. Now, in terms of what's going on here, it's a unique thing when you're dealing with a high-end premium product that obviously there's a lot of people that are very vocal that they don't feel that this is a high-end premium product, right? I think that's the dynamic that we're kind of seeing play out. Would you guys agree or disagree with that? What do you guys think we're seeing?
100%. 100% that people are like, I don't see ramps in this game, and it looks like an EM, even though it's not. I mean, it's definitely not an EM. It just has EM reels in it.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people are like, well, wait a second. My Mando was X amount of dollars. This is way more.
Right.
It's
And
like double.
It doesn't look like you're getting the same package for that money. I think that's the biggest problem.
Right. And we talked about this before. So I've kind of boiled it down into a couple different things. And when this was initially coming up and we knew that Bond's 60th was coming up, we knew that Elwin was involved in it. The three of us talked privately, and we pretty much predicted exactly what is happening, that people are going to balk at it. People are going to be a little bit upset. Like this, nothing is happening right now that was not unexpected, basically, at least on our end with our private conversations that we've had about this to the extent that we could have them. And, I've narrowed this down to three things, basically the reason why that things are kind of playing out the way that they're playing out. It's one, obviously Stern is struggling with the rollout overall of Bond in general with how the Cornerstone went and now how the 60th is going, right?
Right.
And then two, we're also assuming that dealers that have these allocations, right, that they have the platform to reach certain buyer bases, right? That's the other variable that's here. The other one that's here is that basically you have the online pinball community reacting to variable one, which is the rollout that Stern has gone with, right? And so when we look at what the 60th anniversary Bond is, this licensor is gone to all kinds of other product lines, all kinds of other industries, and it's everywhere. It's not just related to pinball. I mean, I was looking through what all before this came out. I took a deep dive to figure out, okay, what other products are out that are carrying this particular line, right? And I think I forwarded some of it to you guys. There's like a $125,000 watch out there.
Oh, yeah.
There's an $8,000 bottle of champagne. There's a $6,000 game of backgammon. There's a $30,000.
Wait. What was that for backgammon?
$6,000.
Holy
but
crap.
It's Bond. It's the Bond 60th version of backgammon, Tom.
I don't care if it's Rush.
But this is just to give an example, Right. And then also there's like a $30,000 motorcycle. I think there's like a 25 or $30,000. It was like a little Jeep thing, a Moke or whatever that's called. So I mean, there's like a $1,500 pair of shoes, right?
So basically what you're saying, this is geared towards high-end collectors.
Right. Well, it's geared towards high-end Bond super fans, right?
Right.
And so the thing is I feel like the way that this game came out from Stern, and the way that people are reacting to this in pinball, it's obvious that people aren't understanding that, right? Now, they can have their opinion on it. I'm not saying like, oh, you just have to sit down and shut up. Like, feel free, like, say what you think, give feedback. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But I think that there was definitely a lot of friction or I don't know whether to call it a failure or what it is, but something has been miscommunicated here to where I feel like maybe Stern wasn't clear enough with who this is for exactly. Or maybe it is that Stern did intend on it going towards the pinball person and it just completely missed the mark on that. Because I mean, everything that we've looked at prior to this release did not indicate to us personally that this was going to be for your normal pinball buyer, right?
Well,
but yet everything about how this has come out, it's almost like, think of this, Joel, before you go and think of this. This last rollout, the way that it came out, the way that the trailers were, the way that the pictures were rolled out and everything, it was basically the same exact way a Cornerstone would be released, right? Mm-hmm. And we are all like Pavlov's dog. We know that when a trailer comes out, and we expect a Cornerstone. Now we expect a certain looking game, whether it's with art, with design, and with price. And if we don't get those things, all of a sudden, that's when everybody loses their shit.
Yep.
Because we're so used to that. I mean, that's just my theory on it. I think that's what we're seeing play out right now.
Well, to me, I think it's because there are a lot of pinball enthusiasts that they're either one, they've identified themselves as like, I am all in on Elwin. So the fact that this is a Keith Elwin game that they can't justify buying pisses them off because that's all they want. They want more Elwin. They would buy every Elwin game they can, but they can't justify buying this game at $20,000.
Well, because Elwin has made 4 games in a row that have been slam dunks, grand slams, I mean, it's hard to blame people for that, but, unfortunately, I don't know. I know I'm not getting one. And the biggest reason is the price.
I mean,
I can't justify spending $20,000 on a pinball machine.
Don't
look
at
these.
Yeah, that game. Because you do some easy math there, Tom. You sell 2 of those, boom.
Oh yeah,
you got
but it's also
Joel, we talked about
I got to
that
sell
too,
2 of those.
I know
to get one.
And to me, I mean, if this game, in my mind, if this game would have come out and it would have been $9,000, they would have sold as many as Godzilla. Like they would have sold the backlog. Like at $9,000, they would have sold so many of these games.
So I was thinking about this, and I don't think they can do this because it's a limited edition. But what if you eliminate the topper? What if you take out the LCD screen? What if you remove that spinning disc if you possibly could? Take away some features, make a premium game.
Well, I mean, that would be, there would be people that would probably jump all over it. Yeah. I even had, in the Loser Kid chat that we had, Scott had thrown out the idea of like, what if Stern rethemed this layout? Yeah. Like, what if they gave Elwin the chance to do an unlicensed theme or rethemed it? Like, if that was all it was just an Elwin shooting game. It was his license. Like, I know he loves skateball. What if they just did like the way it laid out, like, just
take the mechanical reels out and just put an LCD in, because guess what? There's the space.
Yeah, they could sell a ton of them, but now we're in the situation of Stern has already gone down to 2 games a year. Like they're gonna sell a ton of whatever they sell. They don't need. It's not like they're waiting. They're like twiddling their thumbs trying to find something to build.
But the name tells you what it is, though. The 60th anniversary edition.
Right.
And across all industries, that automatically makes the price go up. Now it goes up to various degrees, and obviously there's going to be people listening to this is like, well, the price shouldn't go up that much. But fact is, that's what it's doing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, then we have the choices as consumers. Do we want to buy that or do we not want to buy that? And I'm telling you, this product, right? It's like, think of it this way. How many people are in the industry right now that want to spend that much money? Like, how many of them are full on like hardcore pinball fans that are really into the Bally Williams days, like the single level games? How many are out there that fall under that demographic? Exactly.
Yeah.
I would argue not too many. And that's what's happening right now. And so I think too, day one, your buyer base on day one, they're pinball fans. They're not casual buyers. They're not people that just suddenly just discovered this. They are hardcore pinball enthusiasts on Discord, on Facebook, on websites, listening to podcasts, consuming content, because that's how they know that this game is coming out. That's the reality of it. So I think that the buyer base for this pin, they're out there. They haven't been found yet. They have to discover the game because it's going to be the high-end James Bond enthusiasts. And you can't tell me there's a $125,000 watch out there. You cannot tell me that there's not 500 people out there.
Dennis Kreisel, is that true?
Yes.
Like that's just the way it is. So, I mean, it's just, that's just covering that base. Now, covering the other base that did kind of, it made things very interesting. And I feel for the smaller dealers, like, and I'm talking about the ones whose, allocation isn't as high as, say, the bigger dealers, right? That it caused a lot of customer confusion, a lot of consumer confusion whenever Stern sold these direct, because what happened? All of a sudden, the call for pricing had a price. And it was clear. Now, you guys are free to say what it is. I'm not going to broach and say what it is, but obviously they put a price out there and people were able
$19,999.
There you go. So anybody
could have seen it. It was there on their website.
Don't tell anybody.
So
but it's not there anymore.
Here's the thing. People went ahead and screenshot it. Now, what I don't know, because I was in another meeting when all this was going down, unrelated to bond.
Yeah, we know.
Yeah, of course. But was that, so the price, was that actually on the website, like for everybody to see, or was it after the fact that it was on?
I don't know. I'm a Stern insider. Mm-hmm. I actually pay the $40 a year for that. Right. When the reveal happened, I was like, oh, I'm 4 minutes late. Let's see what Stern sells it for. I literally logged in, clicked on it, and I saw it plain as day. Like I could have added it to my cart. $19,999. I was like,
did you take a photo of it?
No, I just saw it.
Your Honor.
I saw it, and I'm pretty sure I messaged like the TP in Discord or one of our chats, and I was like, oh, Stern's selling it for $20K. So as soon as I saw that, though, I'm like, well, Stern has set the baseline. Now,
but like Travis said, it's supply and demand.
Yeah, what's distributors going to do? Are they going to roll with that, or are they doing something else?
Well, the tough part was too, obviously you see nobody else saying what a price is out loud. Why? Because it's listed as call for price. Now Stern can do whatever they want to do because they're producing the game. But yeah, I knew something was afoot because when I got out of my meeting, I had 27 messages on my phone from like 20 different people, all basically with the same exact thing, like showing what a price was. So, I mean, that getting out there immediately, it basically set what the tone was because it wasn't like
the bar.
Right, because these weren't going to fly fast because we've already established the demographic of this, and the demographic is not going to be a day one buyer. It's just not going to be for this particular product. So that being said, the people that you do have that are involved in pinball, right, and want to get this product day one, well, then they automatically had the power to shop around and try to find a price that they could find. Well, what's going to happen? If you are panicking at the initial reaction to people online, what are you going to do? You're going to sell it as fast as you can. What happens when you sell something as fast as you can? Does the price go up or does it go down? It's simple economics. And if we just exercise logic, we can see that. Now, if we want to get on to Stern about taking a price down or whatever they do that for all their games. Like if a game gets sold out, look at their backlog. This isn't some like thing that Stern is just undercutting, everybody and trying to hide something. If you look at all their games that they don't have for sale anymore, that's directly on their site, it says sold out.
Yep, that's what I was trying to pull up on my phone. But that was brought to my attention that the price it's removed as soon as it's no longer available. It's removed.
And there's this narrative that's gone out there, and it's completely false. The narrative that's gone out there is that, well, Stern is trying to trick the buyers and they're embarrassed by their price. They're doing that. It's like they sold out. They sold out of the game in like 10 minutes. Do you think that they're sitting there and they're like, you know what, guys, really embarrassing. Let's not even show them what price we sold out at. This is a normal practice. And for whatever reason, people that are hearing this or people that are running with this narrative, they don't know it's a normal practice. And I'm not going to wonder why they don't know that, but that's just the reality of it. If the game sold out, it's sold out. And so, unfortunately, or I say unfortunately, you can name it either way, but the price is out there. So it is what it is. So now that's going to create another dynamic that people are going to probably choose to run their allocation and run their business around that price. And you're going to get people, because the game's not selling quickly, that gives the buyer power. That gives the buyer a chance to call around to numerous people and say, well, dealer A gave me this price. What can you do? Oh, okay. Well, let me call him back. I guarantee that's happening. No doubt in my mind. And, this is one of the first times probably in 3 years that buyers literally have an opportunity to kind of be able to have some wiggle room for negotiation and stuff like that. And that's perfectly fine. It's just, that's the reality of who this product was aimed for. And, let's face facts. If we know that the buyer base for this pin, like the main demographic for this pin, is not there day one, are they going to discover this game on Facebook? Like, are they going to join a pinball group all of a sudden? Are they going to discover Pinside all of a sudden? You know what I mean? It's just like, how do you even know this product exists?
Well, I don't know that answer.
If you're not a pinball fan, the only way that you know that this product exists is if you just accidentally run into it, right? Or if you just happen to consume so much James Bond content that all of a sudden they know about there. Even if you look at YouTube, like Kerry Hardy's thing, right? His satire that he did.
It was great.
Yeah. If you look at it, it's getting more views per hour than what Stern's trailers are for the game.
Oh, wow.
So what does that tell you? Now, I don't know if it'll eventually get more views. That's just out of the gate if you look at the metrics of it. So what does that tell you? Who's consuming this content? It's pinball people.
Yeah, it's tough here because it's very clear. Like there are pinball distributors out there right now that don't even have a website. So it's like, how are these guys? If you're whatever, if I'm some athlete with millions of dollars and all of a sudden get into pinball and they're like, I like James Bond, like $20,000 is nothing. They don't care. But how are they going to find that tiny distributor to be able to buy the game? Like, I don't know. What I was saying earlier though is I think there are two type of people that are in the pinball community. They're either the Elwin fanboys, and I say that lovingly. I don't mean that as like
we're like commentary.
I love this Godzilla. I love it, and to me, it's like it sucks because they want to support Elwin. They want to buy Elwin stuff. They just can't. They can't do it at $20,000. And then you also have Bond, like super fans that are pinball enthusiasts. And even a Bond super fan here, they've been dealing with this for months. Like, do I buy the Bond Pro at $7,000? Do I buy the Premium at $9,000? Do I buy the LE at $12,000? Or am I going to wait and spend $20,000 to get my dream theme? And I think they're just frustrated because it is so expensive. Now, why is it so expensive? I don't know. I'm not here to be mad at Elwin. I know there's some people that are like, Elwin sold out. No, Elwin did his job. He was told to design the game. He designed the game. And then Stern, it was one of the Gomez interviews. It was either super awesome or something else, but it seemed like the licensor said that, like, well, can you make us a game with all the Bonds that's like an older game? And they're like, oh, okay, yeah, we can do that. And sure, it was probably through licensor discussion that they decided to make it exclusive and a super LE model. Where the $20,000 came from, who at Stern or the license, who decided that? I have no idea. I don't know, but it is what it is, and
that's a great point that you just made right there.
I know. I make them all the time.
So if the licensor is requesting this, right, and it's a special one-off, how in the hell is this an indicator of something negative for the hobby in terms of the direction? Like how is it? Can anybody explain that to me? Because there's a special edition. Like, how about we reframe this? And this isn't a defense of any one thing. I'm just approaching this from the 360 point of view, looking at it from every angle. Why can't it be, hey, pinball's gotten so popular over the past few years, Stern, Jersey Jack, everybody else has done such a great job that the licensors of James Bond recognize this and wanted to have their 60th anniversary game made into a pinball machine. Like, they saw that and they wanted to do that. Yeah. Why is there nobody considering that?
This is the fear. And I think the fear is that everybody that's a pinball enthusiast, or the majority of people that are pinball enthusiasts, they love Keith Elwin. And the fear is that Stern is trying to do something new where they want to make these super high-end pins that are exclusive. And who are they going to put on it? They're going to put the best designer right now, or the greatest of all time. They're going to put the best they can on these high-end. And now all of a sudden, here we are, all these pinball enthusiasts going, we love Elwin, we want to play Elwin, we want to buy Elwin games, and all of a sudden you've put them out of reach. Essentially like what they did with Lyman, where Lyman was all the boutique stuff, and everybody loved Lyman code, but now the normal or the standard middle of the road pinball person was priced out of being able to buy Lyman games. So I think the fear there is this a new direction that Stern's going? Are you going to put your golden boy on your most expensive stuff? And if so, I that would piss me off. I say that, but Keith has said he did this game because he was between two cornerstones.
Exactly.
So we know we have at least one more before they put him on the exclusive list.
It's a fair question, and you just answered it right there. Like, the information's all out there. They established it up front in their podcast release about it, that this was done between cornerstones. I mean, here's the other thing that kind of
all scripted.
Yeah, they're all faking. There's really not a Jack Danger cornerstone coming out. It's $30,000. It's coming out later.
It's all a scam.
Yeah.
But it's like, I don't know. I think that it's okay to have a reaction. I never want to tell anybody not to have a reaction, because everybody's free to have their own opinions, how they want to have it, except for Joel. He's always wrong, as we all know.
Yep.
But that being said, it's just, I just think that we got to take a step back, realize what this game is for what it is. It's not an indicator of the hobby's going down the shitter. It's just all about greed. It's just this and that. Why can't it just be just a 60th anniversary Bond pin that somebody that likes pinball may or may not buy? And guess what? If a lot of people decide to not buy it, think Stern's going to keep producing games in this way? Probably not. That's a good way to bankrupt your business. So I don't know, like the thing that's gone unseen about this, and I told you guys this before, like, what is something that started at the beginning of this year, January 1st at 12 a.m.
New Year's.
Besides that nobody is talking about.
I know
now.
the answer.
What's the answer?
The answer is every other pinball machine that Stern Pinball makes is now more expensive. The price went up across the board.
Even the ones sitting in stock?
They can.
Like, all the prices went up?
They can.
Yeah.
And nobody noticed that. Like, all of a sudden, it's just been, I mean, they might have, like, day one. There's probably a thread somewhere on Pinside or on Facebook of somebody complaining. But now this comes out. Now all of a sudden, it's like, their focus, it's like a goldfish thing, or, whatever. It's like, over here, looking at this. So, the price is what it is now. We know what the cornerstones are in terms of the timing that they're coming out. We know what the teams are. So I would say to everybody, like, hey, trust me, the sky's not falling. It's not all of a sudden just going to be just super LEs left and right.
Is it hailing?
Here's the thing. The market speaks. The market speaks. And if the market doesn't want something, guess what? A company will adjust, because if they don't, they end up out of business. That's just the reality of it.
And I think what's interesting is you back there it is again. Speaking of Elgato no signal, God. No.
We like to bring levity, Joel.
So it's what I was saying though is you back up when we were in the middle of a pandemic. It didn't matter what pinball machine was being made. People just were dying for a game. Distributors were placing orders, basically, give me as many as you can because I can't keep anything in stock. Everything's selling. It was just buy. And here we are. You look at TNA. TNA was announced, the remake. It came out more expensive than people thought. It isn't sold out. They did not sell out of them. You look at Scooby-Doo. You can still buy a Scooby-Doo. Like every other release that Spooky had before Scooby-Doo was sold out within hours. And here we are, we're going on weeks now. Scooby-Doo is still available and it's not sold out. You look at Toy Story. Like Toy Story, sure. Toy Story, the LE allotment and the CE allotments, the CE sold out. But there are distributors that have them right now on the shelf trying to sell them for MSRP. So they sold out to just like, I think we've had some of the more recent releases. I think there's Bond LEs that you can buy. Like there are readily available games in the last few releases. So I do think some of these manufacturers are starting to actually see price ceilings or not, or like where they're at. Now, I think this Bond game is unique. It is a Super LE. It is something, and we're going to have to wait and see what JJP does. When JJP's next game comes out, do I think they're going to go lower than the, what was it, 12.5? That was the LE, and then the 15, that was the C. Do I think they're going to go lower? I don't think they're going to decrease their price, but I don't think they're going to raise it. Like, I just, personally, I don't.
I mean, I got nothing wrong with prices being dynamic from a manufacturer. I've told you guys this before. It's definitely odd that on a premium product that the prices are usually the same across the board. You know, that's always just kind of thrown me for a loop a little bit, because obviously when the prices stay the same like that, that's what really starts to cause an imbalance too, because the demand is way higher for something else than obviously if it's priced the same and people stay at that, you know, the product's going to be gone instantly. That's just the way it works. So, you know, I don't know. At the end of the day, just like we talked about, the price is the price. I guess just wrapping up or tying up a nice little bow on top of Bond 60, I think it's just going to ultimately depend on when companies can find the buyer base for this. And that's ultimately what it'll boil down to. It's got to be the Bond superfan. And the Bond superfan that's not involved in pinball, they're not going to discover this game today. And so what have we talked about before? The great thing about pinball themes is every time somebody new gets into the pinball industry, it's the first time they're discovering all these games at the very beginning. So, I mean, that's just the way it is. That's the way it always will be.
Yeah. And I just, what has surprised me through this reveal, it wasn't the price. When I saw 20, I was like, good. I'm glad it's 20 and not 25 or 30 or 35 that some people were saying. Like 20, okay. 15, I think 15, it would have sold a lot, you know. But when I saw it was 20, I was like, all right, it's 20. But I'm excited about the pin itself. I do think it'll shoot well. I think the code looks fun. I think the game will be fun. I don't know when I'm going to have a chance to touch one or play one, but I'm looking forward to that. I understand if you're, Travis is pointing. Just
sell 2 games behind you, and you'll have a chance to touch one.
And you'll have half of it.
Yeah.
You're almost there.
So that was my initial thought. But my thought, though, yes, if you're a Keith super fan, I'm sorry, it's $20,000. I mean, it's either you buy it or you don't. If you're a Bond super fan, I'm sorry, it's $20,000. You either buy it or you don't. Luckily, if you're a Bond super fan, there's a Pro Premium LE of another Bond game you can go for. Otherwise, there's a Sega version, or was it Data East version of Bond? Like there's a, you know,
I mean, there's different levels to this.
Options. Like,
there's probably somebody listening to our podcast right now that cannot afford a pro pinball machine of their dream theme right now. I mean, and that's Rush. Rush. That's just the way it is. And Rush is a fantastic game, by the way. I've heard people complaining about, you know, like there's nothing in games. There's Stern's going backwards, this and that. And I'm like, I'm looking at Rush, and it's like one of the most like jam-packed games in recent memory. I mean, it really is when you break it down and you look at, I mean, hell, Tom, your LE behind you, like the expression lights are just the tip of the iceberg.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
let's think about this, Joel. Let's break this down. What do they say to a fundamental standpoint, right? It's got expression lights.
Mm-hmm.
It's got drop targets.
Oh.
It's got a movable ramp. It's got a magnet. It's got a fork that creates a captive captive ball.
It's got two scoops with a subway.
Right? It's got a subway. It's got a diverter. It's
got 3 different wire forms, right?
Optical spinner.
It's got a concert on an LCD screen. It's got fantastic art.
It's got a drum clock in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it has terrible rules and code.
Wow.
What is that? Is that Tim Sexton coming through your door right now?
I don't know.
He's
Tim.
taking a sledgehammer to the TNA.
Texting Tim and
I don't
Raymond
know
right
Tim,
now.
but I know Raymond, and I know Raymond consumes everything, and I just want him I know he reacted. That's the only reason I say it. I like
Raymond's
the code.
like the F you say, Joel.
Yeah. So what?
But what I'm getting at though,
Pop-Tart right now.
It's like yeah.
Yeah.
It's just I've heard so many people just over the past 48 hours, and I'm sure you guys have heard it too, that they're just like, oh, Stern's going backwards. There's nothing in the game. There's this and that. It's like, for F's sake, we just had Godzilla just 2 years ago or less than 2 years ago. #1 game. Stern has 5 or 6 of the last major top 15, top 10 games.
Yeah.
Who's voting on this? It's
know.
literally it's the consumer. So it's like, what are we talking about?
Godzilla's,
Joel, help me. What are we talking about?
Godzilla's insane. Rush was really good. Is really, really good. And it's just, I think overall, just the Bond reveal between all 4 models has just been a mess. And I think people are really struggling with that, and the fact that they know it's unknown what's coming next year. If there was an Elwin game right around the corner, I think people would take a few deep breaths and be ready for whatever. But it's the Brian Eddy Dwight combo, they're just let's see. I hope, but that's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping the next Cornerstone comes out. It's a banger. It's awesome. And people can take a deep breath and realize, this is an exclusive game, just like Elvira 40th.
Right. Well, and people's reaction is always going to be based on what's the latest thing.
Yeah.
What happened when Jersey Jack revealed Pirates? Everybody went nuts.
I want Pirates. What's next? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, before that, Joel, there was people that were saying oh, Stern's going to close down. There was a massive thread, a Dark Knight for Stern, all this and that.
I remember that.
Wait a second, they didn't?
Yeah. So it's people they react so quickly instead of just taking a step back and saying, okay, what is this? And again, it's fine to have opinions, right? Us 3 have opinions, and people let us know all the time when they think our opinions are wrong.
Yeah.
But we're willing to take a step back and look at something for what it is and test it out and see if our first impression of something holds up. And that's what I love about you two, is we are willing to change our minds on something. We're willing to see it for what it is once we get around to playing it, or once we get around to experiencing it. Then we try to formulate what our full idea is of whatever we're seeing. So I don't know. I think that it's just one of those things that I personally think that the industry is very healthy right now. I can say that just being obviously on the inside of the industry. I tell you guys all the time, things are good. But yeah, of course, things could go down. There's ebbs and flow to everything. But I don't think things are going to go down simply because the company prices one particular product when they have 20 or 22 other variations of their products that could go on the line at any given time.
Sure.
It's way too much of an overreaction. And it's the same way. If Jersey Jack comes out with an absolute banger at TPF or whenever they decide to come out with it, that everybody forgets about Toy Story.
Yeah.
Everybody forgets about that.
I will say, when I interviewed George Gomez, the thing that made me, it really bummed me out.
He likes to throw that in her face, doesn't he, Travis?
Well, you know what? I interviewed Tom Graf.
That's right.
Before,
that's just called a phone
you can
call.
check
But
that
I
out.
actually what bummed me out was right at the end when he was and he said, he goes, hey, for all you Bond owners, the code is coming. Please understand how much I care about this game. The code will happen. And he goes, I'm not the devil or whatever he said. He's like, I don't know why so many people have made me out to be just think I'm just the worst. And you could tell it genuinely hurt him of like so many people are ready to grab the pitchforks. So like Stern's doing this and they're not going to do this and blah, blah, blah.
They do that
like,
for every game. Yeah, what's the difference?
And that's
my own kids do that for me when I cook freaking breakfast in the morning.
I understand.
I don't want eggs.
To me,
it's just like we said, Joel. We know how much it means to Gomez, right?
Oh yeah.
Like we know that, and it's not like everybody's sitting at Stern and they're like, "Well, how can we screw over the customer today? And how can we piss them off here?" It's like, of course, they're passionate about their job. They want to bring value. They want to do that, and I think it'll happen. Okay, sorry, Joel. I totally interrupted you. Go ahead.
Fine.
I was the one who interrupted.
What
Tom,
I was saying was,
you're a freaking beauty, Tom.
I love it. For anybody that's watching the video, you guys get it now. You guys totally get it now that you can see Tom. And you can also see Travis.
I didn't shave today.
Yeah.
Say that again, Joel. You can what?
You can see Travis's walls. So what
you can see me because my camera's working.
You're right.
Your walls are way more important.
So what I was going to say, though, is for anybody that's listening to this podcast or watching it, you're clearly a pinball enthusiast, and you're probably consuming all the media you can or reading everything you can. And at the end of the day, make sure you're enjoying the hobby. Like if you're reading stuff and you find yourself getting mad or frustrated or venting or angry, like this is a hobby. Like make sure you're having fun with this. And if you're not, maybe take a breath, like step away for a day. Or, if you're listening to somebody just complain constantly, maybe stop listening to it for a little bit and just realize like, we're supposed to have fun here. We're supposed to have fun. And that to me, it's just in this particular reveal and seeing so much hate directed towards Stern, like this is everything's falling apart, blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, just no, like, just, I don't know. So that at the end of the day, the content that I try to create, I'm trying to share the enjoyment that I have for this hobby. And I hope that's what people take away from the pod. Thank you for the eye roll, Travis. That's my goal. Same thing with streaming a game. Like I want to make sure people are enjoying it. So enough about that. Fine. Okay.
If
Joel
you want to see
pinball.
a Brickfest, go watch
go watch the Flipping Out stream only on YouTube. We're on YouTube this year. Yeah.
If you want confidence going to INDISC or playing state, just watch just another pinball stream or whatever you're on, Joel.
It's Flipping Out.
Oh, Flipping Out. Yeah. Sorry. Well, I can't. Yeah,
I once again, when you're talking about confidence in my stream, one of the best comments that I've ever read on my stream was, somebody told me watching your stream would build my confidence, just like going to Walmart builds my confidence on my looks. Or, it was something along those lines. And there's truth to it. But you mentioned INDISC. We'll wrap that. I don't know. Is there anything else? I think we've hit the 60th anniversary game. We're looking forward to a stream. Yeah. We can talk more about the actual game.
We'll shit on it next episode. Let's move on.
Yeah. Let's just all go outside and just have a good old scream at the sky, and it'll be fine. We
should try to get Keith on as an extra ball and be like, why'd you sell out?
And then he just clicks off on the video.
He's done. Oh, you mean like I did my job and designed a game? Yeah. Okay. No. What was I going to say? INDISC, Joel. We're serious. We're all three of us are serious competitive players.
I just hope I can get there. Weather-wise.
Why wouldn't you be able to get there, Tom?
Because of frickin' weather around here. I don't know if it's going to snow or sleet or rain or...
Well, you'll be able to... So before INDISC, though, you do have states. So you will be able to play...
No, that is incorrect.
No, that's incorrect,
I don't know anything.
So Joel, Mr. IFPA over
I don't know anything. I'm trying to keep a conversation going. Travis, yeah.
Joel,
I don't know if that's better or worse. I don't. Fine. I haven't looked at a calendar. I don't know. I assume states were before INDISC.
No,
I look at INDISC like the Super Bowl.
You are like Tom. You're lucky. Tom and I are even still here right now. You're a serious competitive player.
No,
how do you
I'm
not know? Like you tell me all the time.
Is rolling around as proverbial second place grave right now.
Yeah. Carl's never coming back on here to replace me now.
Yeah,
you don't even know when INDISC is.
We love Carl. He wore our shirt on
enough
stream.
to know when INDISC is.
He was so prepared when he was on.
His camera worked the whole time. And he wore our shirt on. He bought a shirt and he wore it on stream. I just think that's the coolest thing ever.
That was awesome.
Yeah. Anyways,
thank you, Carl.
The hilarious thing was I was
INDISC. watching
and I didn't even notice it. Just somebody in chat mentioned it, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, nice shirt."
Yeah. Well, that's because we watched the playfield and we're like, "Oh, how the hell's Carl doing this with this ball now?" And oh, okay, it's hitting that shot now.
Exactly.
Like, yeah, it's fantastic to watch play. I mean, I really hope
1.2 billion on T-Rex multi-ball.
Tom, you know what we need to set up?
No way.
Like, we need to set up a pin clash competition between Carl and Joel.
Why? Why? Like what?
Because it'd be hilarious, Joel. That's why.
Yeah, and
like, how much of a handicap would Joel need?
I would need
15 minutes.
I would. 15 minutes. Oh, that's right. It's pin clash. It's how quickly you can do something. Now, okay.
How quickly do you think there's anything on Godzilla that you could beat Carl at? Like in a pin clash way.
I could probably turn the machine on quicker than he can because I got some long arms.
I could turn the pinball machine on quicker.
Fast. I think I could.
I bet Carl probably has his voice activated and he'll bust that myth really fast.
I have mine. I have a circuit for this entire wall and it's on a light switch. So I could turn all the games on with a flick. But I'm saying if you're standing in front of the game, hands on the flippers, who turns it on first? I think I'm winning. My arms are longer. That's all I'm saying. But besides that, no, if you're actually talking about playing the game, I don't think there's a single thing involved in playing Godzilla that I could do better than Carl.
Well, okay. Is there any one thing at Godzilla do you think you could beat him at just once? Like just one time out of like 100?
Maybe who can hit the skill shot first? Like plunge, like maybe. I don't know. We
need to build up that confidence, Joel. I think you could do it. I think you could beat Carl in a skill shot competition at least once out of 100.
The only skill I feel like I've ever had in pinball involves hitting the upper flipper shot on Led Zeppelin. And that's just because the two of you and Raymond Davidson,
Led Zeppelin, doesn't he? Or does
legitimately were surprised at how well I could hit that shot. That's the only shot in pinball that I feel like I might actually be above average at. No.
My favorite part to the whole thing is that you didn't realize how difficult that shot was.
I mean, for some.
Like, we were like all mesmerized by it. And Joel's like, what? Like, this is, like, I just assumed everybody did it. We're like, no, that's not normal, Joel.
And then realizing how much it helps with points because it activates the super modes or whatever. And Raymond's like, oh, you did it again. Oh, you did it again. And he's like, you have 3 super modes going. Oh, you drained. Like in his world, it's like, if I had that, I would have capitalized and got blah, blah, blah. But it's like, I don't know. That's the only thing. That's literally the only skill that I think I have. But anyway, INDISC, it's coming up. You guys are both going. I know Travis or
Rush
Tom
is going to be in it.
Oh, I don't know the games. Rush being in it's pretty awesome.
Oh.
Dalton's going to be stoked.
Dalton's not even there.
Oh,
but he'll probably be stoked out in Georgia, wherever he's from. Yeah.
Carl did stream Rush the other day and just destroyed it, like to an insane level. Didn't he get like something like billions on the one mode because he had everything going and he hit all 12 shots perfectly? No big deal.
Yeah. Yep. No big deal. You knew it was going to happen. It was like a 12-way La Villa with like 750% boost or 900%.
It was
something crazy.
Try that at INDISC.
Is Halloween in it?
No.
No.
I don't think.
Well, remember, Tom, that was a question we had for Carl. Yeah, we had a question for Carl because what is it? The Jim
Belcito.
Belcito, like,
he
loves
said it could. He could possibly put it in.
I mean, there's still 4 more games to come. Like so far in the main, it's Deadpool, Firepower, Flash Gordon, High Speed, Joker Poker, Revenge from Mars, which is a really interesting pick in there. Rush, Space Station, Star Trek Next Gen, Street Fighter 2, another interesting one.
Yeah.
Surf and Safari, Tommy, Tron, and World Cup Soccer.
I got a prediction.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
So last year, remember Zach had a hernia because Mystery Castle was the last game picked.
Yeah.
And that was the last game played and decided the whole thing.
Yep.
This year it's going to be Street Fighter 2.
Will be the final. As if there's a topper, I think Zach's fine with it. So,
well, didn't they change it kind of to where, okay, so if you pick a game, it's completely burned, right?
Right.
Like you can't pick it again.
Right.
So
I mean, that was the whole thing.
It was like that last year though, too, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, that's
shit.
normal.
We're gonna end up with Revenge from Mars.
The only thing that could happen isn't you can replace, if you're the number one seed, you can replace a game, right? From either the women's or the classics. You can take a game out.
Well, and then it entirely depends on who gets that number one seed. I mean, the odds are pretty good that it's going to be a Stern that's going to get pulled.
Unless it's Escher.
Unless it's Escher. Yeah. If it's anybody that can legally buy alcohol, I think it's probably...
I think Kaylee was number one seed last year, and he put in Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Pretty sure.
I think that sounds about right, because Doctor Who was not in qualifying.
Yeah, it was in the women's division.
Yeah. So when is INDISC? How soon is this?
Week and a half.
Flying out
today.
on Wednesday, so
yeah. Next week, Joel.
That's exciting. No,
next week.
That'll be really cool. I know.
Tune in on IE Pinball to watch all the action.
Oh, I'm ready. It's so well done.
It's a big deal too, because it is a major world championship. So
yeah, and Travis and I intend to win all the tournaments.
Oh yeah. I've already announced. Like,
I'll take Classics 1, you take Classics 2.
That's
fine.
And then
then we'll just figure it out along the way for Maine. But I mean, here's the thing, Joel, it is a pretty big deal, though. There's people from Europe coming into play. There's people from across the country coming into play. All the top players will be there. So it'll be exciting.
Fun to watch.
And then I guess this would be a good time to plug. I don't know what the website is, though. Tim Sexton's fantasy pinball that he does.
Oh, he does a fantasy football, but for...
Oh, yeah, but for pinball. Yeah,
so
you got two.
Bet on you guys.
Well, you don't bet, but you can play. It's like, so each player is assigned a value, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you probably don't need to do this because you already bagged on Tim earlier, about Rush and all that, but he'll probably just put
his part of the
your entry
fine.
in the trash.
Yeah, Tim's
Isn't
half
it,
of the code.
Pinball Statistics?
Oh, that might be it. Pinballstatistics.com, I think. So yeah, you get like a $250 budget, and then each player has a money value associated with them, and you get 5 players total, and then there's a point total according to where they finish in the tournament.
Nice. No, that sounds fun.
Yeah, so pinballstatistics.com.
Nice. So Joel, who do you think is number one?
Either Escher or Raymond.
Pretty good. See, you pay attention.
I'm not an idiot.
You pay attention. I didn't say you're an idiot. You didn't know when INDISC was, so I just assumed you wouldn't know who the top player in INDISC was.
Looking at the calendar, okay, so INDISC is next week or week and a half. That's awesome. Just side note, everybody mark their calendar for the 28th. 28th of January is the Pinball Awards. So the Pinball Industry Awards, we changed the name to the Pinball Awards. We now have included a public vote, so as well as the committee vote. So this is probably going to come out after the fact, but if you're hearing this on Friday, if you want to be a judge, please apply. But Pinball Awards, that'll be fun. I will be at that. That's actually going to be filmed at the Flippin' Out barn, and a bunch of TPN people will be there, and it's going to be a good time. So if you want to watch another live pinball event, that's on the 28th.
Well, you skipped over another week. What's the other one, Joel, that's coming up?
I don't know.
State, Joel.
I'm not playing in state. Neither are you. You're not playing in state.
I'm not.
Let me
Everybody
talk to Tom.
thinks I am, but I'm not.
Hey, Tom. How's
No, Tom State is very interesting because Tom State is it's like 1.5 IFBA up that way. So who's all going to Wisconsin, Tom?
There's a lot of players.
Didn't we read these off last time?
We did, but now people are confirmed.
Okay.
We've all had to decide.
So myself, Neil, Dave DeLuga, Josh Sharp, Zach Sharp,
they live in Chicago.
Kid named Escher Lefkoff.
Escher lives in Colorado.
Yeah.
And they're coming.
Yeah. Tim Sexton.
Chicago.
Jason
Where's Carlos?
Jason Wardrick. He picked Ohio.
Okay.
Where he's from.
Yeah.
But that's the IFPA rules. It doesn't go by boundaries. It goes by where you've played and where you qualify. Yeah. So if you qualify in a state, you have the right to pick it.
So Travis, you've qualified in multiple states, and you are picking none of them.
None of them. No, I just didn't feel like playing this year. I've told a lot of people before, Heads Up is my least favorite format of all. Like I'm having to convince myself to even play in the Stern Pro Circuit finals because they changed it to Heads Up, and I don't know. I'm just not a big fan of it. Like IFPA, I can make an exception just because it's a world championship, lots of great competition out there. I want to go play in that, but yeah. So Heads Up, it just doesn't do anything for me.
Please explain that. Yeah, please explain Heads Up and why you don't like it.
Well, Heads Up means you're playing against somebody, like 1 versus 1.
Head to head.
Oh, it's not 4 people.
No, head to head. No, it's just like 1v1. So kind of like what happened at Expo, where we were all playing, what was it, the best of 5 or something like that. So with this, it's the best of 7. And I've done it a couple times, and I've gone on to play nationals. I mean, it was fun then. But now at this point, I've just gotten to where if I know I'm not going to have fun with a certain format, like I just feel better just sitting out, taking a break.
Yeah, you want to have
taking
fun
a breather. Yeah. And so I'm still going to go down to Oklahoma and still like cheer my friends on. And then Monica's going to play in the women's state the day after. So I mean, I'm still going to go down and hang out
too.
Okay. I don't know. I still have a lot of women friends down there too. They'll be playing against her. I'll be cheering for everybody.
So many women friends. Yeah.
So many.
Yeah. So many.
Well,
hi, Carolyn. Shout out to you because I know she's listening.
We are approaching the 2-hour mark. So
I want to say one other thing.
Go for it.
So Cassidy Milanowski is playing in both the Wisconsin state and the women's state.
Nice.
So, is that at the same spot, or
it's not?
Is the women's state somewhere else?
Where's that at? That is at Dave Anderson's place. So I've showed you his collection before. He's got like all the spooky games and a bunch of other ones too. So it's that's cool. Pretty good, diverse collection.
Nice. Cool. Well, good for her. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, yeah. Is there anything else? I'm looking at our notes. We said TWIPY nom. So once again, thank you for all the TWIPY, the people that nominated us for the TWIPY. Feel free to vote. Thank you very much. And I wanted to mention the Gomez interview, which apparently I've rubbed in your face too many times at this point. And
what interview?
Bond 60th. And so I think check. I think we nailed all those. So
crushed it.
I think it's probably time to plug it up. So Travis, let's hear you plug the podcast.
Yeah, you guys can find me on YouTube now at whatever
Triple Drain.
This is. What are we?
Drain.
At Triple Drain. Do we have an underscore?
Nope. It's just Triple Drain. Triple Drain.
Okay. You guys are watching this, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell, do all that stuff. And if you're listening to us on the audios, thank you. Appreciate it.
So to clarify that, we did start a YouTube channel. We've actually had it for a little while now. We've just never had anything on it. So the thought eventually is we're going to have these videos be exclusive to the Patreon people. And then maybe like 2 weeks after, then we'll put them on our YouTube so that people could find them after the fact. So you could see them. It will just be potentially a little out of date. So yes, feel free to join that, find that, subscribe to it. And yeah, videos will be trickling out on there. They will just be slightly delayed based on the audio and Patreon release. So that's our YouTube channel. So thank you, Travis, for plugging that. Tom.
You can find me at the Triple Drain, and also Fox Cities Pinball on YouTube and Twitch and Instagram, Facebook, OnlyFans. All the things. Wonderful. And yes, to the people that are watching this on video, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoy the video. It's a lot more fun to talk to these guys and look at them. Hopefully looking at us is more enjoyable. I don't know. If you enjoy the video, I'm glad you enjoy the video. And if you like it, feel free to join the Patreon. Patreon's triple_drain on patreon.com, and you'll have access to all the videos we have moving forward. Otherwise, if you're not watching the video and you enjoy listening to the podcast, thank you. I'm glad you enjoy listening. And we will continue to release that same way we have been. And I'm Joel, and I am streaming. Now I stream entirely for Flippin' Out,
and we're streaming on YouTube. We're trying something new. YouTube streaming is growing. We think it's a platform that has more growth opportunity for people outside of the kind of the Twitch group. Nothing against Twitch. Enjoy streaming on Twitch, but just trying something new, really. So that is every Wednesday night from 10 to midnight Eastern Standard Time, and I'll alternate between a chatting stream like we did last night and playing pinball stream. And all those videos will immediately be up on YouTube, so you can watch them later. And speaking, it's time to stop, because that is the third or fourth time that Travis's camera has shut down. So third. So this is a perfect time. He's probably not even going to turn it back on. So
nope.
Yeah. So like always, Tom, you have the last words.
Peace and pinball, everybody.